All right, design thinking, welcome to our first project that we are going to start today. We're going to learn a number of tools as well as some safety protocols in this shop. The first thing is that you need to locate your 4x4 piece of wood. It is not technically 4 inches by 4 inches. It is roughly off of that, but that is the common term for it. It's just under, it's about 3 7/16 depending on which board that you have. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But your first goal is to measure 6 inches from the end in, and we also want to make sure that we have your name and block on this piece of wood in case we need to get this back. So I'm going to say block 2, and I'm going to do CR and CB because we're working together. The next thing that I'm going to do is locate my tape measure. I'm going to use this nice tab off of the end to drag that up. If I need to lock this, I can, but I want to make sure that there's tension on this tab across the end of the board. I don't want to just let that sit naturally. So I'm pulling that hard, and I'm going to count out to 6 inches. Once I find that 6 inches, I'm going to make an alligator mouth right there. That gives me a good point. If I just do a straight line, sometimes it's angled and I don't know, is it on the right hand side of that line or left hand? I then go to the other side of the line and I do the exact same thing. So I've moved my entire tape measure across and I'm hitting that alligator mouth at the 6. This tool you already have identified in our challenge, our scavenger hunt, is a speed square or carpentry square. It is one of my favorite tools. We are going to use this beveled edge across the end of our wood. We want to make sure that this is flush and pushed against our material. I'm then going to use it to make a straight line across this wood. Remember that the thickness of our pencil has an effect on our line and our mark, so make sure to play that into account. If I've done my job correctly, the point of my alligator mouth is directly cut in half by my mark. That's the first thing that we need to do. We are then going to use the combination square, which is a new one for me. I don't use this very often, so I'm excited for it. The first thing is I have adjusted this to be set at exactly 1 inch. That's our goal for this one today. We can do that by loosening this. We then can push in and adjust that measurement to get to our 1 inch. Sorry, I'm doing this on camera. And then I can tighten that up so it can't move. I'm going to use this edge along the wood to make a 1 inch mark away from the edge right there. And I also want to make a 1 inch mark across that. So in all reality, I am marking 1 inch by 1 inch right to there. I'm going to do that same thing on the opposite corner coming back down to here. So 1 inch out and 1 inch up, and that's my goal. That's my target right there. Okay. The next piece that I'm going to do is I want to connect these two lines, and we'll tell you a lot about why we're doing this here later. We could do this freehand, but I want to make sure the goal is that I'm using a little bit of a straight edge so I can flip this thing around so that I'm not cut off by my bevel. I can push that against it to find my line right here. I'm going to connect these two and make my score across that line right there. So when we're done, we're going to have 2 exactly same pieces that we have as a template for our project. We're going to use a compound miter saw to make this cut, and then we're going to practice with a band saw to make that second cut. Make sure we're wearing our safety glasses, make sure we're using a pencil. We've got our tape measure, our speed square, and our combination square for this project.